Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to It's Poppin'. So we are finally, or we at least think we're finally done with the renovation of our 2008 Jayco Select 12HW, it says right there. We want to just do, hopefully, a quick walkthrough of everything we did to this pop-up camper, kind of give, this camper the finale it deserves, and do a quick walkthrough of everything we did, both on the outside and on the inside. Perhaps for those of you who haven't, or maybe don't want to watch every video we've done on this camper, we'll give you the quick and dirty on it, and that way, if something interests you, you can go back and find the appropriate video for whatever we're talking about. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So, every time we're out camping, I always love to show off our cooler slider mod. So, as you can see here, we like to store our, I think this is a 55 quart cooler in our front storage box. So, as many of you may know, when we were washing or pressure washing our exterior of our pop-up, we discovered some pretty bad water damage that had made its way into the pop-up and essentially compromised the integrity of this aluminum and this whole front storage box. So long story short, what we did is we cut out a bigger hole. There was a much smaller access panel here, put in this slider, and then made it so our entire cooler could slide out. But nevertheless, this slides in and out when we want to get our drinks or whatnot that we normally store up here. And then when the time comes, we can just lock it down. That way it's not bumping into the wall when we're traveling. So really the only other thing we did on the outside was just make sure that it is watertight and there's no water getting in, because as you all know, water damage sucks. Well, as we found out up there. So what we did is, and this was a pretty lengthy process, but took off all of the corners, all of the roof corners, anything that could be taken off. I re-butyl taped and then of course caulked back in, so that way everything was sealed up nicely. We did that and then patched up a few things on the roof, as well as a few holes in the canvas/vinyl. That's pretty much it for the exterior, so let's jump inside. So the first part of our interior renovation involved the cabinets. Now we usually like to do that just in case we get any paint, and in this case we use poly shades on the floor, because then of course we can just go right on over it. But nevertheless, the first step was poly shades, and Mrs. It's Poppin' did a really good job with the poly shades on here. It is notoriously tricky. Just ask Adventures in Pop-Ups on their experience with poly shades, but it kind of gave us this almost wood look without having to completely rebuild the cabinets. So we use poly shades on our cabinets to create this look. And at the same time as all of our cabinets, we also painted our walls. This is just a basic interior paint, nothing special at all. Did we prime this? No primer under this, so it's held up quite well as well. So we painted the walls, and at the same time, there are other odds and ends. For example, the heater, this used to be a nice tan color. We used a nice high heat spray paint and took care of all the painting we didn't do on the interior. So step 2 in our interior renovation was the flooring. We used, as we've used in all of our previous campers, a vinyl click together or click lock plank flooring. We're comfortable working with it. It sustains, or is able to sustain, a higher temperature variance as opposed to the kind of the peel and stick vinyl planking. So that's why we go with this. But as part of it being a floating floor, or at least as much of a floating floor as it can be in a camper, we always go around with a quarter round, and we try to use, I think it's like a PVC type or some sort of synthetic waterproof quarter round. That way if it gets wet, it's no big deal. And we just brad nail that in, caulk around it to give it a nice finished edge. So the third step in our interior renovation was our countertopping. This time, and this was a new technique to us, we used a specific peel and stick vinyl countertopping. So it's a little thicker. specifically made for countertopping. It's not like the thinner stuff you'll pick up at Walmart or such. And it's held up exceptionally well. I don't think we've torn through anything. It's been very durable for us. The biggest thing that we found with this technique, however, is the corners are very tricky to get right. And we tried a myriad of techniques. I think we tried, pulling it just tight and heating it with the heat gun and pulling it. We tried giving it like one relief cut. We tried giving it multiple relief cuts and kind of folding it over. And to be honest, the best technique that's kind of withstood the test of time, or at least about a year of use, was one relief cut and then kind of stretching it. Now, you'll also notice that we do not have T-molding on any of our countertops, so we had to stretch the peel and stick over what would perhaps some of you might have a T-mold. So if we did have the T-mold, and especially with like this nice white marble look, it would have been nice to have stretched this under and then put the T-molding over, but that was not an option for us. So next up, we did our cushions. So we used I should take that back. We used 3 different types of fabrics. We used kind of a, more medium gray, a lighter gray up top, and then on the back, we used a kind of synthetic leather or a vinyl type material that, just a little bit more durable on the back. Although we've never had problems with this fabric. And this fabric is just an outdoor fabric. Nothing too special, but not quite as coarse as like your duck cloth material. And well, I might as well just keep this out here to show you. We kept our old zippers and just went right over the foam and used the old fabric as templates. So pretty simple and straightforward. Thankfully, in this pop-up, we only had the 4 cushions, which was much better than like the Palomino, for example, which I don't even know, had like 11 or 12 cushions, so unbelievable. And most recently, we completed the curtains and the valances. So what we did is we completely took out the curtains, but we reused the slide clips. They're kind of a vinyl nylon slide tab that we re-sewed on, and then we used, actually, if you'll believe it or not, shower curtains that are weighted down by some spare washers we had. Gives them a little bit of weight. And the tie backs were completely made of scratch, but as you can see, they matched both the upright cushions as well as the valances. Now the valances were a little bit more advanced, especially when it comes to sewing. And what we found is that to get this, I don't know, pleated look, if you will, you have to use this thing called a ruffler foot. So way beyond me, but we were able to get the curtains done with some basic sewing techniques and some more advanced ones. And the way these go on is just with a simple strip of Velcro. So once again, we used the old Velcro from the old valances, and they go right back up where the Velcro is on there. So curtains and valances. And finally, in addition to all the other renovations we did a few things here and there to make the camper what it is today. This was spurred by the fact that there was a small hole, well, exactly where that rooftop vent fan is. So I thought, what better place than directly above the shower to put a fan to pull some of that hot air and such out when you're taking a shower. So all this required was cutting through the fiberglass, the foam, and the aluminum here. And then I was able to tie the 12-volt power right into our existing lights. Speaking of lights, as you guys know, we always love to replace the old, inefficient, hot, incandescent bulbs with nice new LEDs. So that's what we did throughout the camper. And I actually think one of these lenses here was melted and burnt out, which caused the damage up here. So I replaced that as well. So had to do a lot here. Oh, speaking of which, the shower track, that was actually missing. So this shower track, I think it's available on Amazon. We kind of fabricated our own and made our own shower track. That way we can hang the shower curtain for showers. And really the only other thing that we kind of replaced or custom did was I removed the really big, old, outdated stereo that was right here and put in a nice low wattage Bluetooth, and I think you can auxiliary into this, but speakers, which interacts with the two overhead speakers. So this is really nice, ties into your phone via Bluetooth. And then I took some of the I guess wall paneling, if you will, that we took out of the front storage box when we were replacing all of that and painting it, and made this little cover so that entire big hole was nice and covered up. As I said in the beginning of the video, if there's anything in specific you want to see in video, I will throw up the playlist for this entire renovation project, including all of, like, the repair projects, if you will, too, in the video description, so that way you guys can get all the more details that you might want. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this renovation as much as we did, and we're looking forward to our next renovation project, which, if you haven't seen, is a 2007 Fleetwood Niagara. So we're really excited to start that one coming up soon. So as always, guys, hopefully we see it in the next video. If not, hopefully we see you out there camping.